Peace, King.
Hey,
Many
black
blessings.
at you.
Many blessings,
Yes,
no
sir.
doubt.
Right, black at you.
Fred Hampton Jr.
Yes, sir.
What a pleasure.
Pleasure to be here.
No doubt. As all know, your father, was a great Black Panther, Fred Hampton Sr. Um, and what I want to know, being his son, walking in those big shoes, how has it felt to have to walk into the legacy of such a great figure in what we look at a revolutionary stage?
Mm. Tough act to follow. Try our best. Um, see, I guess in the eyes of the state, I've been seen as a three-strike offender.
Hmm.
One, just for simply being African.
Indeed.
Two, for being the son of Chairman Fred and also of Akua and Jerry, formerly known as Deborah Johnson. And three, for continuing to fight for liberation of our people. And I take a position that if the government or any entity considers that a crime, I'm cool with that term.
Yes, sir.
Um, I said in this poem before that I wrote in honor of Chairman Fred. I'm paraphrasing because I can't remember the exact words I said, but a lot of people want to know how does it feel to be sired by you, being loved by the people and sweated by the you know who.
Mm.
If I had I said that lady you chose, that was the one. If I had my choice to do it again, I'd do it all again. And I'm saying to say a lot of heat comes with it, cases, pressure. But I'm honored to be the son of Chairman Fred, and I don't want to romanticize it,
Mm-hmm.
because can't tell me, cases and assassination attempts,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
so
saying,
clear.
and not just for being, just for son of Chairman Fred, but for carrying on their work. And my mother presently chairs the organization, the December the 4th committee. And one of the things with that is to make sure the legacy of that, what happened December 4th is kept intact.
Yes, sir.
And it's a continuous battle to make sure that that legacy is intact. In fact, we say our position is that, I say we, just for the record, the Black Panther Party Cubs, that's the organization that I chair,
Mm-hmm.
that legacies are more important than our life because we have a certain amount of time to be here physically. But legacies serve as prototypes, examples on how to deal with future situations and so on and so forth. Chairman Fred Hampton was a Black Panther, and I speak fast, but I tell people, I say, listen to the words I say. Some people were in the Black Panther Party.
Mm-hmm.
Then there were those that was a Black Panther. He served mind, body, and soul. That was the essence of who he was. Uh, he was assassinated. He didn't die. It was a big uproar one time. One of these modern day Pied Pipers, Jay-Z, we call him Slave Z,
Mm.
had made reference to. He said he and one of the song, I think the song "Murders of Excellence," that he arrived the same day Fred Hampton died. And he was making reference to the fact that his birthday was the same day.
I remember that.
So we
that
literally
verse.
went on stage and called it. We get out, act the fool. Yeah, not we call it act the fool. We call it contradictions because we seen it as an attempt to hijack the legacy of Chairman Fred.
Okay.
And we very stickler about our words and terms, not in an egotistical type of way.
No doubt.
But we say he would never make that sort of reference to like Lyle Cohen,
Mm-hmm.
in the Jewish community. He just passed away in Nazi Germany.
Yes, sir.
Chairman Fred was assassinated, and we say it's important to use brutal terms for brutal realities. He was targeted, as well as the respective organization he represented, the Black Panther Party, by the infamous COINTEL program.
Mm-hmm.
You never hear me say the police killed my daddy.
Mm.
I don't speak about it in some sort of subjective way.
Yes, sir.
I'm very clear that the United States government assassinated Chairman Fred and Defense Captain Mark Clark. He was targeted for for committing the quote unquote crime of serving the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't like to say they because they seem too ambiguous. The United States government assassinated Chairman Fred in a strategic type of way, similar to the way during the era of chattel slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Say a pregnant sister would run away. They would go out and bring her back in front of the masses and slit her pregnant stomach open and stomp the fetus to death to send a message of terror to terrify the masses and a message of horror to horrify the masses.
Mm-hmm.
Chairman Fred was strategically, they could have took him out a number of different ways. They could have took him out when they had him locked up in Stateville and Menard prison.
Mm-hmm.
They could have poisoned him like they did. They could have got on. They did Jack Ruby, the Oswald, who supposed to get Oswald.
Yes, sir.
But they assassinated him, and the Chicago police paraded his body out, his 21-year-old body out, and they were chanting, "Chairman Fred is dead." And this is to send a death blow to the community that this is what will happen to you if you ever stand up for the liberation of my people. And this is a graphic depiction of putting into play what the former director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, said when he articulated that the Black Panther Party had to be destroyed by the end of 1969,
Mhm.
and it was part of the breaking process. So you dig, we say we want to put it into practice. We try to put in practice what Chairman Fred said that you can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill a revolution.
Yes, sir. See, that's I think is one of the most frightening things. I believe that Americans who live here in this quote unquote great country don't want to believe that at 21 years old, Chairman Fred, your father, and that remember that he was a man that stood up for the people, but he also was a father, he was a husband, and he was so young
Yes.
that he was assassinated.
Yes.
In a lot of the stories, and as history proves, eventually they showed and proved that the discrepancies of the gunfight
Mm-hmm.
that night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being that your father died so young, what do you see yourself as being in this revolution from where it was then until where it is now? Do you feel we're getting any closer to some of the ideologies that your father and the Panthers believed, power to the people, and the people rising against all odds against the government?
I think we experience highs and lows, with struggle, with revolution. And let me, if I can, just I don't want to draw any foregone conclusions.
No,
Let me
please do. Go ahead.
distinguish even revolution from war.
Okay.
War is you get two occupying armies,
All right.
and they suit up and boot up for the get out.
Mm-hmm.
Revolution is when you gain the minds and participations of the masses of the people.
Okay.
We've seen this in the case of Africa, we've seen Vietnam, China, right, the Black Power movement of the '60s, and where it was not some limited just to like a military, faction, but again that impacted every aspect of our lives, the music, the sports, everything. Um, the Black Power movement of the '60s, for example, seen a climate where the conscious level was heightened,
Yeah.
where it wasn't cool to refer to sisters as
No,
misogynistic type of
not at
terms.
all.
It was a conscious level that was heightened where you seen such street organizations or street tribes. A lot of people refer to them as the gangs. We don't
Mm-hmm.
call them the gangs. Our thing is that the worst gang in Chicago is Chicago Police Department.
Indeed.
You dig?
We're definitely gonna talk
And,
about that too.
and you seen where the devil disciples got up publicly and said, we now renown ourselves to be known as the black disciples due to the political education we received from Chairman Fred and the Black Panther Party.
Mm.
You seen the Blackstone Rangers take more of a nationalistic stand, the Black Peace Stone Nation. You seen where um, Chairman Fred was able to win such organizations as the Vice Lords to flip the script after the FBI. This is documented where the FBI told the Vice Lords, we will give you 16th Street if you do not if you do not allow the Black Panther Party to open a free medical center on 16th Street. Well, Chairman Fred warned them to a point where they subsequently worked at the free medical center.
Mm.
And even by the government's own records, I got to quote them because a lot of times people don't believe nothing is true unless you say white folks or the government said it.
Yes, sir.
By the government's own accounts, there was a record load to what they call, what's the term they use, black on black crime.
Mm.
And I got an issue with that term. But this is, you see the whole climate. And let's be clear about the 60s. It wasn't this absolute where everybody's down for the
Yeah.
struggle. Prior to the Black Power movement, you had cats saying terms like act your age, not your color. I'm wearing my hair fried, dyed, laid to the side. You know what I'm saying? You had a whole you had some serious contradictions going down. And this is no disrespect to the dead, but James Brown had a whole totally different song at first playing. It was forces such as H.R. Brown, I know it's Imam Jamil Alameen,
Mm.
one of the most charismatic representatives of the Black Power movement in the '60s. That literally drove down on James Brown, man, put the heat on this cat, forced to say, you better go back in the studio with that garbage you're talking about. James Brown came back out to "I'm Black and Not Proud." It was a movement that did not allow him to pull what he pulled later on, say during the era with the Rocky movie,
Yeah.
with the red, white, blue drawers on,
Oh.
to Living in America.
Living up.
There was a movement that made it conducive for Marvin Gaye to go against Barry Gordy and them Italian gangsters who really ran Motown Records. To say, I'm going to put this song out, what's going on, whether you like it or not. There was a movie that set the atmosphere. See, the dog wagged the tail don't wag the dog. The streets made the music don't make the streets. And there was a movement that set the climate, that understood it was Minister U.E.P. Newton said that power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in desired manner. Power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in desired manner. Case example. Reverend Nat Turner put his ear to the ground, seeing that the church was a phenomenon. He defined that phenomenon and put it in practice. Praise the Lord, past ammunition. Mm. Harriet Tubman, she put it into the ground. The Negro spirituals defined that phenomenon and utilized in our interest. Way in the water, meet me down by the river when the sun go down. Chairman Fred was a realist. He put his ear to the ground in Chicago. And such dynamics, street organizations, street tribes, a lot of people call it gangs, was a reality. A lot of people was against them even talking to them cats.
Yes, sir.
To Chicago, which was and remain to this day remains one of the top segregated cities in the country, if not the world. Mm. He grappled with the race as well as the class contradictions. The Young Patriots, which was one of the most reactionary group of poor whites, who, in fact, these cats were wearing Confederate flags in their jackets. Okay. Chairman Fred won in some point of political unity. He won the vice lords, the stone disciples to some point of political unity, the young lords. Not that they had to become revolutionaries, but they at least had to come in a revolutionary act. Fast forward to what you say about correlated to the date. Now a lot of things that the Black Panther Party Cubs have been responsible for doing right. And I'm not saying this in some sort of ego tripping type of way, but it's important that we understand that movements makes things happen. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have seen the end results. When Kanye West came out and said what he said about George Bush not liking black people.
Yes, sir.
That wasn't on his own volition. We Borders Bookstore, north side of Chicago. We locked the doors 8 hours before he said that. That was us. Real talk.
Okay.
And this is important to understand again that people understand that movements makes things happen. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so it's a lot of so we put things in correct context, and we don't say that some sort of hero type of way because we Minister UPN also said that we must distinguish a hero from a revolutionary. A hero engages in something people say, "Wow, that was a hell of an action."
Yes, sir.
But they can't emulate that. A revolutionary comes from the masses of people. They can pick it up. You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of similarities to this stage in the game. And you know what I'm saying? Now people are not talking about the work that we're doing now because we're not a safe subject. Mm-hmm. See, that similar to that doing the Black Power movement in the 60s. You go back and look at Malcolm's funeral. Cats were scared. Man, cats were scared to come around to come down. But now everybody, their mama, they love Malcolm.
Yeah.
It's like the guy for Wheaties cereal some years back. I think it was the 80s. They had put Muhammad Ali on the Wheaties box. Mm-hmm. And interviewer said, "That's extraordinary. Muhammad Ali was a phenomenal athlete. Why y'all just put him on there now?" And representatives for Wheaties said, "We put him on there now because he's safe." Mm. So a lot of people wait till things are safe subject. So we're not a safe. The Black Panther Party Cubs, we are not a safe subject to speak about now. But the actions are happening right now. You know what I'm saying? Yes, and there are a lot of similarities. And in Chicago, in particular, a lot of times it's kind of like spooky in a way. When I was locked up in a place called Menard, Chairman Fred was there in 1969. I was there in 1999. In fact, they got me his picture in every gun tower right now to this day. If you get caught a picture by either one of us, they add 6 months to your sentence. Wow. Right now to this day. The brothers that gave me a moniker, a nickname is Deja Vu, because I was in the same cell house, same gallery. It was spooky. But even in Chicago for quite some time, what's the old saying? Only the names have changed. A lot of times the names haven't even changed. The case I was given in 1992, Sergeant Joseph P. Grubezek is the one that arranged all the different agencies, the ATL, CPD, and when we were doing research, he was one of the same ones who did surveillance on Chairman Fred Sr. Mm-hmm. Daley, Mayor Daley. Daley's father was the mayor. You know what I'm saying? When the assassination went down on Chairman Fred, his son was mayor when the whole legal lynching went down on me. So it was like, even the names were similar. It was the same. So there are a lot of similarities. Now, there are a lot of differences. One of our quotes is that heat turns more than meat black. And
say that one more again.
Heat turns more than meat black. Okay. What that means is that under a certain amount of pressure, cats become conscious. Some people have this messed up definition. They want this class arrogance where they can, once you read a person a book, they can be enlightened. Yes, once you light a candle around them, they can be enlightened. We don't
burn
subscribe.
That incense or something like
we just burn the incense. We don't subscribe to that school of thought. Yeah. We understand the reality of the world, and people can become conscious, get involved and work one of 3 ways: inspiration, aspiration, or desperation.
No doubt.
Inspiration, aspiration, and desperation. And it's not nothing that just only goes to the black community. Resistance is happening. It may not be reported to the extent it should be reported. We're not satisfied, but nothing else should be noted that resistance is happening.
But resistance is happening in a sense of they're depicting the people as almost American terrorists. as thugs, the new word to call the black male and woman the N word, and at the same time being unruly for no reason when you can have a sports game and particularly more majority white people going out there and acting haywire, and it's just a bunch of college students or just a bunch of fans releasing some energy, and it's just people going a little bit overboard. So there's discrepancies in that, and at the same time, when I look at it and I see the revolution, I hear a lot of young people saying certain things about what the revolution was before and to where the revolution is now. And I don't know maybe if they're talking about the Martin Luther King era where there was more of a passive, aggressive, we shall overcome attitude. But I always have to take note to what was one of the greatest forces that I've seen, as I've done my history research and documentaries over and over and the great speakings from other individuals. You have a situation to where these people that were in the era of your father and so many other great revolutions that gave their lives for what is now considered one of the greatest times in history for black power, they were ready to really die. And when I say die, they were armed. They were armed and they were ready and they shot and they got shot at and they shot back. So there was no kind of mystery to where I saw this revolution back then more of a threat compared to here. Though the revolution, it's being sparked and there's a lot of people antagonizing the mass, the white supremacy that it is. But I don't see people really grabbing their guns and going all out without any consequence. Do you feel like the nature of where it's going to go may get to that point?
Malcolm X has said, the collective consciousness of the people ticks slowly, but it erupts the volcanic force that make Mount St. Helena look like nothing. Um, a lot of people say, what made the Black Panther Party phenomenal? Cats say, well, they had guns. My response is, a lot of cats had guns. Well, they knew the law. A lot of cats knew the law. They had leather jackets. A lot of cats had leather jackets. The politics. In fact, Minister Newton had even said that we must even politicize the gun. What makes our gun different from the pig's gun? The politics, the terms, the words, everything. We understood and we understand that everything is political. Words, terms, fashion, everything. It's the whole dynamic, and it's a difference, excuse my English, but it's an old saying, it's a difference between 20 million niggas and 20 million niggas armed with the politics.
Mm-hmm.
See, a lot of cats, the state ain't got no problems with cats being strapped up with some bangers,
Okay.
guns.
Most definitely, because it's happening in the streets all the
Exactly. Be armed with the politics. You feel what I'm saying? In fact, the COINTELPRO papers talk about when the Black Panther Party and Chairman Fred Hampton started politicizing the different street organizations. They started talking to Black Stone Rangers, the disciples. They said, man, it's a problem. You feel what I'm saying? And it's in to put historically, even with the question of the gun, every time a law, even with the gun laws in particular, has been enhanced or addressed, has been in response to some type of particular dynamic happened with African people. The Emancipation Proclamation. You've seen the whole thing with. In fact, that was when the birth of the whole gun anti-gun gun legislation, so on and so forth. At the heels of the Emancipation Proclamation, said we have no problem with people being gunned. Hold on, these cats being free, being armed.
Yeah, not good.
You go back to 1967, May 2nd, 1967, when the Black Panther Party marched up in state cap Sacramento.
Sacramento.
In response to the Mulford Act, actually Senator Mulford, it really was known as the Panther Bill.
Mm-hmm.
When they said prior to that, they had no problem with people being armed. But you start seeing the Black Panther Party being armed, not just being armed. In fact, Chairman Fred always talked about the importance of the importance of the politics. Chairman Fred said, a cat got to go through 6 weeks of political education before they even can consider themselves a member of the Black Panther Party. Mm. And this is a whole different. You can see the politics is a whole different dynamic. Like you can see the way you represent yourself. You become clear. Like even in New Orleans, after Hurricane America, a lot of people call it Hurricane Katrina. We say Hurricane America. That's political. Because we say Katrina ain't killed nobody. Get credit where credit is due. As opposed to terms like stealing, say no, liberating, freeing up stolen resources when people's going to get the resources. You know what I'm saying? See, even the terms are political. And it's a whole, and America knows this. That's why they press the whole importance. That's why they put out propaganda. Columbus discovered America. That's why on the side of police cars they say we serve and protect.
Yeah.
It's a different dynamic. You see, it brings a certain amount of pride in you. That's why it's important. They just don't send police out there. They give them a whole amount of training. Prison guards.
Mm-hmm.
They give them a whole propaganda about how prisons are lower than human. And they don't trust them. You follow what I'm saying? They give them this propaganda. So the importance of politicizing the community, our people, not just reactionary resistance. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's important, and that's what we are struggling for. There are a lot of reactionary organizations, reactionary resistance, and that's needed too sometimes. But to keep it in its place, you know what I'm saying? Because most cases, you do have a reactionary resistance. When you listen to what people talk, they'll say stuff like, "Well, this happened to me." I'm quoting this lady, Daryl Hamilton, his grandmother. Daryl Hamilton, I think 17 years old, December the 2nd, 2002, shot 17 times by Chicago Police Department on the south side of Chicago, ironically on 72nd Dorchester, which is known as Emmett Till Road. The police gunned him down. They went inside the school, Enrique Furman Elementary School, and they pulled the video, the tape out of the camera. When we protested, we got all different street organizations. We shut the the police station down. Protested, but something his grandmother said. She said she worked for the switchboard for the Chicago Police Department for 12 or 13 years. She said, I would hear this man's name over and over, Fred Hampton Jr. He's at this protest. Mm-hmm. I never connected. She said she never connected. But when her grandson was killed, she said, that's Fred, that's his son. That situation hit her, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's the sad reality. Most people are, when it happens to them, there's no slight on her. Yeah. You feel what I'm saying? Right. And so we have a lot of reactionary resistance. You know what I'm saying? I talked about TAM Supermax before I was sent in TAM Supermax. We exposed Cook County Jail by being on top of toxic waste before I was placed in Cook County Jail. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We don't wait till the heat hits us directly. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the deal is we want the people to understand that we are consistent. We are out there, even when it's not hitting us directly. This brother named Red I was locked up with, very intelligent cat, but he had no faith in the people, no faith in the masses. Cat would tell me, he would say, one day he told me, say, Chairman Fred, you always talk about the people. He say, Prince referencing Machiavelli, which a book is that's another subject. We have banned it before. Why? Because I said this is premature for these cats. These cats don't understand that they are not Italians. Yeah. It's like the 1600s. So you know what I'm saying? Yes, so I said we banned it. I said maybe later on we can bring it up. But back to the case at hand. He said, Chairman, Prince says, he who builds on the people builds on the mire, the mud. So they transferred me as they do all the time. I called him 4 years later. I said, Red, you forgot to read the next page. For the exception of the prince, I see the people will stand back the prince up because they know they will weather the storm for the prince because they know that he's not fighting for his own self-interest. Mm. You know what I'm saying? He's doing it for the people. You know what I'm saying? See, the people are very intelligent. Stephen Biko of the Black Conscious Movement said, black people in particular must grasp the ability to distinguish intelligence from the ability to articulate. Mm. The masses of people are very intelligent. They can pick up when you're talking to them. Oh man, that's some shit that he on by himself. Yes, sir. They said, no, this is about our people. I've been throughout the world. Pam Africa with the Move Minister Conversation for the Move organization. She talked about when we was in France. In fact, that's my first time going out the country. She said Chairman Fred went to a place that nobody even heard about. These cats didn't even speak English. Mm. And I related to the people. Richard Pryor said what Richard Pryor called, he's a peopleologist. I like that term, a peopleologist. And the people can pick up on when it's about you, about them. Even the terms you use. I failed my senior year of high school English class because I refused to say me and I. Mm. I didn't even speak that way. We and us. You know what I'm saying? We and us.
So when you say we and us, you say the people. Mm-hmm. Are we saying all people? Or are we saying black people? Are we saying people that believe in ending white supremacy? Meaning, people of other colors, other races?
First, I go further than that. I think black people in specifically speak French at the wrong times. We. I'm very clear when I say we. I don't have this. I don't subscribe to abstract black nationalism. In other words, I don't think that all black people had the same interests.
Oh, we don't.
It was a
Most
Negro pig.
definitely.
It was a Negro pig. It was a few Negro pigs when they came on hit Chairman Fred Howard, another Negro pig named Gloves Davis that put the fatal shot in the head of Chairman Fred.
Wow.
I'm clear. When I was in the people, we called the question on the Gringo and the Negro,
Mm,
Uncle Sam and Sambo,
no doubt.
Rockefeller and Rockefeller Records.
Mm,
I'm African. Wherever I'm colonized at. I'm colonized in Chicago, but I'm clear. I'm African. You know what I'm saying? I'm clear. I'm clear my history, my lineage, everything. Now I get my priorities clear. But I do not subscribe to just simply the fact that just because somebody get not only did the same skin color as me, I don't care if they got the same last name as me. That don't mean we had the same interests.
indeed that.
And I'm very clear of that. I study people. I listen to the words and terms. A white person they call me a nigga for me to understand they racist, and a black person ain't got to do certain things for me to understand that we don't have the same interests. I'm very clear that we don't have the same. There's some people this a war with my people, and some people have aligned with the adversary.
Yes, sir.
I'm very clear of that. I'm very clear. My politics, I can see it coming. And then we say everything is political. The music you like, who you ascribe to, what your aspirations are. And it's not. I don't believe that. Again, I can read some book to you or light some incense around you, and I'm win you to the right side of the question.
No doubt. No doubt.
I know that we all have a certain amount of different. We have been subjected to different conditions, as well as lack of conditions. It's you tell some of these people they hold up for us as our spokespersons. Them people they need a GPS map to find their way through my hood.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I can walk through Chirac and the other blindfolded. Blindfolded. That's my office. The streets are our office. I work out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know what I'm saying? So we real big about okay, no, that's a different dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, they black. No, different. No. I told sister yesterday. I was talking to her. She said, "Well, I said, sister, maybe you misunderstand. We are the POCCBPPC, not the NAACP."
Mm. NAACP. Let's not get on them.
Okay. No.
Let's not go there yet.
Well, it's not personal.
No, it's not because at the same time,
It's not It's a different. I represent a
Yes,
different
sir.
or genre. I think contradictions. I'm gonna say this to you. Contradictions are they exist. And I think we try to fight that. It's not we're different. You feel what I'm saying? It's not nothing, not hating or you know what I'm saying. It's a when Chairman Fred met with the Stones, he hiding the contradiction that they are different. See, when the government try to get them going against each other, Chairman Fred hiding the contradictions. We must acknowledge in our community that contradictions exist.
Yes,
They don't have to become antagonistic contradictions. There's a class difference between us and the NAACP. It's not nothing against them. It's a different dynamic. It's a different dynamic.
but at the same time, they don't stand for a lot of what we're standing for.
And I don't have disappointments. Acknowledge that through the door. A lot of people don't say that in the public. Don't. No, let's be upfront.
Let's be upfront
about this. So we have disappointments. I have cousins who I love.
Yes, sir.
They're not my comrades.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
But I still love them.
I love them. We go to family reunion.
Yeah.
That don't mean that you put. I got a guy who I love. We grew up together. Don't call him to be on protest with me. This ain't. He's not cut from that cloth.
No.
It's nothing personal. We had to start. Chairman Fred Senior said, "Revolution is a scientific art that must be perfected." We dealing with our lives.
Yes, sir.
No other community get caught with this abstract liberalism. Well, I don't want to say that because hurt his feelings. You don't see white people leaving a diehard Bruce Willis movie talking about Bruce Willis disagrees with nuclear weapons. You'll see our community hold them entertainers. Well, such and such is said this. They asked Malcolm X one time. Well, Jackie Robinson disagrees with your position about violence. Malcolm X said, "Wait a minute. Do we be quoting we don't quote no Bob Hope or no Marilyn Monroe for your people.
No doubt.
Scientific. This is your road. This is your lane. You feel what I'm saying? We must understand that. It's nothing personal. There are class contradictions within our community. We must acknowledge that.
And when we talk about class, and I like how you spoke upon that. A lot of people would say that not only, and I want you to touch on both, that there's the attack of the black male and woman, by the henchmen, aka the police, by the white supremacist groups all over, the government, basically. And then there's also attacks on certain black leaders, certain black figures. You have Bill Cosby as being in one of those individuals who's been attacked, and some people are on the fence. Did he rape? Did he not? This is a conspiracy. And, you have the black community divided on that. So do you feel like there really is an attack on all sides, on the ground level, to those like ourselves, and then to the black elite who I guess are not figuring into white supremacy as it needs to be?
Similar to that, similar to on the slave ship. All of us on the slave ship, but there was some of those that was in different quarters of the slave ship. Similar to that doing on the plantation. There were those who were afforded certain luxuries in the house, as opposed to out in the field. And our position is one of the class contradictions is that it becomes a crime when it happens to them. You follow what I'm saying? It's like so. And I'm saying no. Let's be consistent. You know what I'm saying? See, it's like go in stages. They utilize certain forces to. In fact, I think you can YouTube it. We had to really a few years back get down on Bill Cosby when the venomous attack he was doing on his sister
Oh
in
man.
Chicago. We I mean we that was us out there in Chicago at McCormick Inn some years back. The attack. So they used when they use these guard dogs to attack our people, then they get through with them. It's okay. Now that's time for you. Now it's a problem. Oh, you feel what I'm saying? So let's be consistent with the definitions. So then he's out his own mouth. You can't blame the system. You can't blame the white man. So when it comes back to hunt them, they have no defense. You know, it's like lack of better terms.
I'll be
The,
brutally
the,
honest.
the,
Go in.
when the pimp goes to the Greyhound bus station, when he grabs a young girl,
No
he
doubt.
isolates her from her family, from people. He gets them. He don't beat her through the door.
No doubt.
Make them phone calls. Tell your family you don't need them no more. I got you. Gives her a nice dress, everything. Then when the attacks come down on her, no support. So they grab these individuals and they use them to attack the justify the attacks of the people. These madams, for lack of better terms, the
Indeed.
Cosby and the likes. Then when they get through with them, it's a wrap. And then we can see the like this is something that's we see in the class as well as the race contradiction. Like when stuff happens to like white people, like it's a problem. Like it was a big thing in Menard prison when they showed this white individual being raped in prison. Better yet, Chicago. The black sites, these secret police beating stations. They've been taking us there for years
Yes, sir.
in Chicago. In fact, in 1990s, it was the GDs, one of the street organizations. Used to be the Gangster Disciples, and later Growth and Development. There are sections of them that was taken to these black sites that you've never seen again. No problem. This white boy was taken there. He wasn't beaten.
Yeah.
Uproar. Hold on, something's going wrong. Richard Pryor, comedic genius, has said
Indeed.
white people will ride through the black neighborhoods and see cats with needles stuck in their arm, dope residue on their nose. And they say, that's a shame. They'll come home, their son will come on the front porch with a can of Budweiser beer, and they'll say, oh my God, it is an epidemic.
Mm.
I'm saying it's an epidemic. What happens to the masses, to the lords of us in the valley, the masses, the valley, the masses of people? Why does it have to wait till you get to the mountaintop? People start saying it's a problem.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So that class contradiction, like I tell all these different entertainers, say, man, heat is coming. You talking about imperialism is a parasitical system. You talking about a system that knocked John F. Kennedy head off. They get on their own. So you know what I'm saying? So I don't care what type of deals you make with it. Malcolm talked about like a tapeworm. You can't talk to the tapeworm and say, man, okay, I'm not cool, make no deals with it. When they get through using them, getting down the masses, it's coming for them. Then when they come for them, you isolate it. That's what you see in the Cosby's and the rest of the situation. No doubt, they've been at the psychological profile on dude. All during this trip.
Yes, sir.
There ain't no surprise in them. And they put these individuals in certain places. They know what makes these cats tick and what don't make them tick. And they exploit their contradictions. You know what I'm saying? So the state, they talking about now we're going to release these papers. The state been doing this here. And these different entertainers they give us, they have a psychological profile. They know who to put in where, who to hold up as our leadership, all that. You go back and look. This happened yesterday. This literally happened yesterday. We at this concert. I ain't gonna say the individual's name because I don't want Cassie caught up in the individuals opposed to the issue.
Yes, sir.
This artist who they raising up. He gonna be a big time artist in a minute. I see it coming with him. So I go on the tour bus and so I'm over him. I hear him tell the other guy, man, I don't know who my father is. That's why he said that's why he gonna go through. He finna carry legacy on. He finna repopulate. He finna make as many babies as he can. This what he say. So then we go up to they leave on stage. He go on stage. The song they playing is about Poppy, whatever, you know what I'm saying, about they call him Poppy, And then this whole image of these women around and so on and so forth. Then I go back and read an interview with him, telling what inspired you? Oh, my thing with my daughter, blah. They grab these individuals and they put him out there. And this ain't no thing with him just in Pacific. This is the norm. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, man, Will Smith, the rest of them, they grab individuals. It's a certain cycle, and they exploit our contradictions. Nicki Minaj, Nicki Garbage. They know, they grab her from Trinidad, her disdain for her daddy and black men. Lil Slave, you call him Lil Wayne, who's as a child, who was literally saved by police when he was a teenager. It's a consistent psychological profile with all of them, and they raise them up. Our leadership, our move, and we all have contradictions,
Yes, sir.
including me. The state took my daddy. They took Chairman Fred. They took all of ours one way or another. But I'm clear of the principal contradiction. You know what I'm saying? You talk to a lot of people, they say they upset with their father for being locked up, but they ain't got no problem with the white warden who got them locked up.
So now, going into that with the people on the ground level, as we consistently see, police terror is not stopping.
Mm-mm.
With Sandra Bland, who just now in police custody,
Mm-hmm.
she from Chicago,
They were vehicle outside Chicago.
and you know, an activist, and now she's found hung.
It's an insult to our intelligence, even the type of the first mainstream media coverage I seen on the case of Sandra Bland, dude, he couldn't even keep a straight face. I mean, that whole historical, that whole old argument, hanging yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's an insult. This 2015, the type of propaganda they still, type of
Yeah, that it,
they
it
feed
really
us.
plays
They still
with
say it,
our intelligence.
and then even the coverage of it. Typical America. I mean, how they get out, criminalizing the victim. They related that everything she had from a previous case she had. I think it might have went to her grammar school record. It's
But
criminal.
with Dylan Roof, when he kills 9 blacks,
Oh no, no, he has psychological problems. Okay, we'll take him Burger King. The issues.
he had a little Burger King crown on when he got in. You know what I'm saying?
A child.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just this. The whole. I don't want to say some sort of cliche type of word, but the whole systematic attack. This the propaganda. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this, it impacts every aspect of our life, our existence, man. You know what I'm saying? Just even like I said, it's an insult, the type of stuff that they would say to us in the straight face, man. I guess they take a note from Gropel, the propaganda minister for Adolf Hitler.
Yes, sir.
So when you tell a lie, tell the biggest lie possible that nobody would even believe it's a lie.
And that's what they're doing. And no way that we are making light of any of these situations
No
by
doubt,
laughing.
no
But
doubt.
it is almost funny
Yes.
how they continuously tell us this is not racist. Tell us this is not terrorism.
Yes, indeed.
Where the Muslim who killed the 5 Marines, and I'm not condoning none of the behavior. As soon as it happened, terrorist attack. Dylan Roof, no terrorist attack, no terrorist charges. I don't understand, what America looks at when they see these different things, and then the simple fact that now you have all these hate groups coming out. They've been around, coming out and surfacing, and when you look at as your father, Fred Hampton, and the rest of the Panthers got eliminated, whether it's murder, drugs, jail, however and whatever possible to destroy the Black Panthers. Why hasn't the American government took that stance against the Ku Klux Klan? That continue to when it's time, they show up. And why hasn't there been a real thorough investigation with the some odd 9 churches after the fact that Dylan Roof has been, killed the 9 African Americans in church? That these 9 churches have been burned down, and there's really no heavy media coverage. It's almost as if, well, this is a part of the program.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed out. Definitely not taking light the case of Sandra Bland or any other cases of police terrorism that we subjected to. Condolences to the family, to the community, to our people. You know what I'm saying? The case of Sandra Bland. Sometimes I guess, man, you got to laugh, stop from crying. It's embarrassing being oppressed. It's embarrassing being oppressed. Um, and we want to put these in correct context. Police terrorism. Everything from the cases of Dylan Roof the churches being burnt, to George Zimmerman, to the police in Chicago doing drive-bys. Rekia Boyd, the police that killed this shot his sister in the head on literally a drive-by. Adolph Grimes in New Orleans, Oscar Grant in Oakland, California, case after case. All these are products of white supremacy, white power. There's a position, there's a sentiment that trickles down from top down, that trickles down to every slumlord in our communities, that trickles down to every foreign merchant, that trickles down to to the police station, the 17th precinct in New York, to every police station. And that is that black people ought to be treated as the Rodney Dangerfields of all races. In other words, no respect.
No respect at
No
all.
respect. Do as you will. Do as you will. You come through. You can move on to Mike Brown and Ferguson, we like to call it Mike Brown Town. And if there's any resistance, we'll send in the usual suspects. Send the pacifiers, the Sharptons, and the charlatans to calm the people down. And this is the type of the sentiments that they do with. And I want to give a clenched fist salute to the community in Ferguson, Mike Brown Town, who upped the ante, who refused to let these usual suspects, come down and just come down. Clenched fist salute. That's something that has to be, in order to move forward, we have to combat this liberalism. People say, well, Chairman Fred, you shouldn't disagree with black people in public. If they speak for white folks' interests in public, we shall deal with them.
And that's what I believe in as well.
No doubt about it.
Out the cools.
Through the door. Through the door.
Get the silly Negroes out of here.
Through the door. All this, wait, this is not the right time. Wait till the next election and hold
for what?
We might not even be here.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, I told this guy in prison one time, we was in Big Muddy River. We call it Big Bloody River. And he was one of the white nationalist groups. And he was saying, talking about how they more organized. I said, let me explain something. Let me say something to you. You even receive the benefits of white power. No, man, we locked up too. I said, let me show you something. I went to the kitchen. Before I got to the second door with the tomatoes and the vegetables I had, they called through the guard towers. Now, where's he going? Lock down, lock down. I say, I know y'all have access to go back with them butcher knives I had, the white prisoners. I know y'all get to pick y'all cells where y'all at. See, a white homeless guy, you still receive the benefits of white power. See, all this whole discussion about post-racial society, I don't know where that's at. You know what I'm saying? The dynamics of race impact every aspect of our lives, our existence. They still do them tests where they grab them 2-year-old babies and say, what's the pretty dial? What's the beautiful dial? And you gotta say, where did that come from? That black children will pick the white dial. Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? These children are never even in school. The TV shows, the video games, the music. All the propaganda bombs that they drop on our people from 7 in the morning. Before a child get to school at 8 o'clock in the morning, call DC, call LA, call St. Louis, call Chicago. You're gonna hear fake Drake. You're gonna hear Lil Slave Z, Nicki Garbage being bombarded on them and being attacked. They're gonna be called so many niggas and bees. Before 8 o'clock, they're gonna be stuck up, robbed. Before 8 in the morning. Before 8 in the morning. And all this stuff about, well, we have good parenting. They go miss me with. Let me tell you something. I'm grown. I consider myself politically conscious. I hear a couple of them songs. It reverbs in my mind.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? I hear the song.
Yeah.
I'm saying the words. These are propaganda bombs that impact every aspect of our communities, man. Real talk.
Wow. So now, when we think about Chirac,
yes,
Chicago, and I am so glad to have you here because I really want to know how hectic is the streets of Chicago, and at the same time, because that the media has depicted the gangs in Chicago running rampant and out of control. Doesn't this also give a green light, as you talked about police doing drive-bys, for even the police jumping into the action? Because I really seriously believe a lot of these murders that they claim are from the gangbangers, some of these murders can be possibly be by the police, because who would really sit there and flinch an eye to that? Who would really question that? Because it has been so rampant. And then at the same time, how has this city gotten that out of control, and what can be done about that?
I be one of my comrades up here. He be calling me. He said, "Chairman, where you going?" I said, "I'm gonna go to head down, take a walk." Man, be careful. And I could understand the whole dynamic why he was tripping with me in Chicago, Chirac. And I was in, and I seen WGN News. I watched it. I said, damn. I see the propaganda they putting out. I say, I got me kind of tripping when I go back. Listen, the propaganda is being put out. We add to the old adage. What they say, it's an old adage. We say, God created Africans, and America made niggas.
Mm.
We add to that. The mayor and the machine manufactured Chirac.
Mm.
It is strategic. It's organized chaos. What the administration in Chicago has done to the children in particular, people should be surprised that they have not turned the cannibals. They broke American historical record. They shut down 50 schools at one time.
That's what I heard.
At one time.
Like, what's the logic in that?
Oh, it's so strategic. Chicago, give you the background. Chicago is historically a very structured place. In fact, crack cocaine was Chicago was the last major city crack cocaine was brought in. They had to kill the state. They had to kill Fluky Stokes and lock up Chief Malik, Jeff Ford. And this is they had dismantled. They had to take certain people out. In fact, when the last of the legends just died, just passed away a couple of days ago. And it's questionable about when he got shot and paralyzed some years back. Willie Lord
Mm.
with the Vice Lords,
Okay.
and they have destroyed the structure, and they have raised up. These are not gangs; they're not even cliques. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I told the young guy, Chief Keef, one time, I said, make sure you spell your name Chief, Cheel, not Chiel.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? We probably reference to smoking or something like this. Because they have one of America's policies, whether it be Africa, Afghanistan, Iraq, anywhere, one of its policies is to create chaos and restore order.
Mm.
Create chaos and restore order. Create chaos and restore order. They have dismantled the structure. They took away leadership. I tell people the Panther Party, they knew who to kill. They knew they were targeted. Exactly. The street organizations, they picked up certain individuals and then tied us in with the what's a nice word they use? Gentrification. It's really land grab.
Mm-hmm.
Dismantled. You know what I'm saying? You don't even have neighborhoods no more. You have organized chaos. This is the strategic, and you can the cartel's presence. No one makes mention of that. The media has a mandate not to never mention the cartel's presence in Chicago. They had a movie about El Chapo, who they claim supposedly escaped. I don't know if you heard of El Chapo.
Yes, sir.
El Chapo was the only one to be placed on a list after Al Capone. This is a particular list they have, some sort of most wanted, or something like this. But after Capone, El Chapo was the last one put on their list. And there's no mention of the cartel's presence in Chicago. And this is not a racist. This is a realist summation of what's going on. So when we talk about when we talk about contradictions with Negroes and different politicians with Obama, it's not attacking on black community. When we talk about the mafioso, it's not attacking the Italian community. We talk about the cartel, it's not attacking on the Mexicano community. Similar to how the J. Edgar Hoover, the former director of the FBI, denied that the mafioso even existed. Denied it. That's what you have in Chicago about the cartel's presence. Literally. Literally. And you had cases with brothers and sisters in the streets who were very organized. They tell you, Chairman Fred, we don't know what's going on here. The murders, literally, I'm talking about the unsolved murders. The state's attorney, Anita Alvarez, was on 60 Minutes, literally said that they know about the false confessions where they torture people in confessing. And she said she don't care how they come, as long as they get the confessions. Something else I want to know for this also. Mental illness. Running in Chicago in particular, rapid contradiction. And it's a response to how a lot of people that they're forcing the children on Ritalin and other dynamics as children, and you see the effects now.
Mm.
One of Rahm Emanuel, the former chief of staff of Mayor Daley, the former chief of staff of President Obama, who was the mayor of Chicago, who Obama gave his seal of approval to. One of his first edicts, his first mandates, was to close down the mental health institutions in the black community.
Wow.
You have cases where it's unbelievable. In fact, I'm gonna quote white folks. Tom Dart, the sheriff of Cook County, said that Cook County Jail serves as the largest mental health facility in the country.
Wow.
We had cases where the nurse told about how the Chicago police had grabbed his little brother at the St. Bernard Hospital, knew he had mental health issues, took him from the church's chicken, They had these things on Tuesdays with 3 pieces of chicken for 99 cents. The community is chaotic right there. They flooded. They put him right there in front of right there. So he got into a big fight out there. The news reporters gang violence. This guy don't know a disciple from Vice Lord. Mental health issues. And it's one of Emmanuel's first edicts when he came in office was do massive closings of the mental health institutions in our community. It's a combination of so many dynamics. But all this so-called gang violence, nothing can be further from the truth.
These gangs just killing each other.
The same usual suspects. Jimmy Iovine, major Interscope Records, major player when the whole East Coast West Coast rivalry was going down.
Indeed.
Go see these different artists in Chicago. Soon as they sign, who they signing to, they coming up dead. This guy Keith when he going from 62nd and Halter to 65th and Halter by himself. How you get in New York and all of a sudden buy $12,000 worth of Gucci belts? Literally, these guys, as soon as they get signed, all these mysterious murders popping up. I'm talking about, go man, the title, who a criminal psychologist said, the first thing you look at when you go to a crime scene, that's what we got, crime scenes. Who benefits? Who benefits? And the same major players in our community. The title searches, all that. Nicki Gabaj dropped the song Chirac, encouraging the violence in Chicago. 2 days later, Southwest Railroad Company, I think it's the Southwest Railroad Company, the train mysteriously stops. 59th and Normal, heart of the Inglewood community. Doors bust open.
Guns.
Over 100 assault rifles missing. Not dismantled, fully mounted, put together, assembled, everything.
Cause I'm seeing brothers with bazookas out there, man.
Literally, after the drop of her song, then 4 days later, a pregnant sister on the expressway, right with a gun, she comes up shot. Then a week later, North Lawndale, same situation. It's like in Haiti. The World Health Organization was doing these tests with these pigs. And when they got to doing the test with the pigs, they said, "Well, we do it doing the test. We gonna put we gonna drop them in the most disenfranchised communities." They dropped the pigs in the community. All of a sudden, the boys were being born with breasts. You know the typical response for a lot of people. Well, what they eat the pigs for? I said, let me repeat to you again. The most disenfranchised communities. But the easy response is do what? Attack the people. Oh, they need to get education. They want doing this and that. As opposed to pinning the tail on the pig.
And at the same time, when you really look at it, it's an embarrassment to the government and the police force in Chicago that they're allowing all these things to happen. So when you say they're allowing, of course they're allowing because they are benefiting.
I go further than allowing. I will go further. They got cats in our community that have actual snitch cards, look like snitch cards who are on a payroll. Modern day Nicky Barnes. Nicky Barnes was on the payroll for Rudolph Giuliano.
Yes,
He wasn't lucky. He was on the payroll fund. You know what I'm saying? Our community is like a. So we talk about COINTELPRO, and so a lot of times people think about some sort of abstract Russia 007.
Yeah,
I'm talking right in our hood, our community. Where we've been flooded with crack, heroin, agent provocateurs. Literally.
Yes, sir.
Literally. Yes,
sir.
literally.
I like. How many more minutes?
3 minutes.
Okay.
No, actually not even that. You probably got a minute before the battery dies.
Okay. So I see this shirt.
Yes, sir.
And it says something that I believe that our community needs.
Yes.
Fatherhood.
Yes.
By any means necessary. What is your take on fatherhood in the black community, and how much is it needed?
Hey, I know we on the timeline, but I was just commenting about this. But I talked to the brother who wrote for Good Times. I can't remember the brother's name right now. We used to have conversations. He told me the whole struggles he went through about James Evans' role.
Yeah.
How they strategically took James Evans, the image
Yeah,
that James Evans
that.
out. The brother who actually, I can't remember his name right now. We used to have discussions about this here. They don't want no images of ideal. You know what I'm saying? Man, the father, the male, the fatherhood, the whole dynamic of our family. You know what I'm saying? It's an attack on that. You follow what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this on an abstract cliche type of way. You follow what I'm saying? I'm talking about, it's a war tactic. It's a war tactic that's being waged on our people. You follow what I'm saying? And you can look at I mean, everything from the emasculating. I mean,
It's a lot of things.
it's not. I mean, we can't limit this to 1 minute. And again, just the images and the politics and the structure. See, again, as I said earlier, America, one of its policies is to create chaos and restore order. That's not only in Afghanistan, Africa, and Detroit. That's in your household. That's in our household. There's a system that rewards, that sets up. With the movie, I can't remember the movie, James Earl Jones and I can't remember the name of the movie, where they show how she got heat, with the welfare agencies would come through and harass her. Claudine. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And this is a message. Get rid of the male up out of here. I get more benefits.
Yes, sir.
You see those same type of tactics. You know what I'm saying? Even it's an argument in the household. Call the police. Yeah. Lock them up. It's an attack to destroy our families, our image. This system is trying to take our manhood, womanhood, childhood, our humanity.
But we as men need to stand up and make sure that not only we father our own, but we follow others, because that's
no doubt about it. And at the same time, acknowledge there's a war going down. So not saying as a defeatist.
Yes.
But acknowledge it. I mean, not just be doomed, but call it. Say, man, it's a war going to be. It's a war going on. They trying to kill us.
Indeed.
They are killing us.
Indeed.
Yes.
I appreciate that, King.
I appreciate you, King. No respect, brother.
Indeed.
Yes,
No
sir.
doubt.
Yes,
No
sir.
doubt.